Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into a topic that every single founder needs to master: how to build a scalable human resources system from scratch, one that actually fuels your growth instead of slowing it down.
So your startup is taking off. You found product market fit, you're hiring new people, and everything is moving at 100 miles an hour. It's an exciting time. But while you're focused on growth, there's a critical question that often gets overlooked. Are your people processes keeping up with the pace, or are they already starting to show cracks? You know, in the early days, a little chaos is normal. You rely on verbal agreements, you track a leave in messy spreadsheets, and you manage everything with on-the-fly decisions. But as you grow, that chaos becomes a real liability. The whole point of this guide is to show you how to get from the column on the left to that well-oiled system on the right.
So, how are we going to get you from chaos to system? Well, here's our roadmap. First, we'll talk about why HR is so fundamental. Then, we'll walk step by step through 3 distinct growth phases, from your very first hire all the way to a team of 50. And we'll finish up with some golden rules to keep you on track. Okay, first things first. Why should a founder who's already juggling a million things even care this much about HR? Because it's not just about paperwork or legal compliance. A solid HR foundation is the very thing that makes your sustainable growth possible. So, the bottom line is this. Good HR management is a strategic advantage. It protects you from legal risks and fines. It lets you intentionally build the company culture you want, instead of just letting one happen by accident. It helps you attract and keep the best talent, smooths out your day-to-day operations, and, crucially, sends a powerful signal to investors that you're building a stable professional organization.
All right, let's start at the very beginning, the phase where it's just you and a handful of employees. At this stage, the focus isn't on fancy systems. It's purely about survival and meeting your absolute legal obligations.
And in Turkey, this is the cornerstone of your legal compliance. The personnel file, or personnel özlük dosyası. This is not optional. The law requires you to maintain a separate file for every single employee. It serves as the official record of the employment relationship, from their ID and contract to every official notice they receive during their time with you.
You really don't need to spend a lot of money in this survival phase. Just focus on these 5 non-negotiables. You need a signed contract before someone starts, their Social Security registration, and that complete personnel file we just talked about. A simple spreadsheet can handle payroll, and a secure cloud service like Google Drive is perfect for keeping digital copies organized and safe.
Okay, your team is growing. Once you pass 5 or 6 employees, managing everything informally just doesn't work anymore. This is the moment you shift from being reactive to being proactive by building simple, repeatable processes.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it visualizes the entire employee journey or life cycle, from attracting them to onboarding them, developing them, and eventually saying goodbye. Our goal in Phase 2 is to build a basic process for each of these key stages.
A great place to start is with your hiring process, just like we see here. It doesn't need to be complicated. Just defining and documenting these 5 simple steps ensures that every candidate gets a fair and consistent experience. It also helps you, as a founder, make better hiring decisions as you scale.
The next key process is creating a simple employee handbook. This document becomes the single source of truth for your team. It answers all the common questions about things like vacation policy, work hours, and basic codes of conduct. It provides clarity and sets expectations for everyone.
This is also the stage where it makes a ton of sense to invest in your first HR software. For a relatively small monthly fee, platforms like Gusto can automate payroll, track time off, and streamline onboarding. This will save you an incredible amount of administrative time. Now let's see how this builds into Phase 3. The moment you cross 15 or 20 employees, spreadsheets officially become your enemy. They're slow, they're error-prone, and they just don't scale. It's time to build a proper HR infrastructure.
The first critical decision is deciding who owns HR. As a founder, you can't do it forever. This table shows some common options. You could add HR duties to an office manager, hire a part-time expert, or even outsource. But as the administrative load grows, having a dedicated resource becomes a must.
And here's that key milestone. The general consensus among successful startups is that once you hit that 20 to 30 employee range, it's time to hire your first full-time HR professional. This is a huge step that frees up the founding team to focus on growing the business, knowing that the people operations are in professional hands.
With a dedicated owner in place, you can now choose technology that can truly scale. Your needs are more complex. This comparison shows how different platforms solve different problems.
Gusto is great for simplicity, while a platform like Rippling integrates HR and IT, and Dealer's built for global teams. Choosing the right tool here is vital for your next stage of growth.
Now that we've covered the growth phases, let's wrap up by looking at the most common traps and the golden rules that will help you avoid them, keeping your HR system healthy as you continue to scale.
The first, and maybe the most critical mistake, is relying on verbal agreements. Not having a written, signed contract before an employee's first day of work is a massive risk. It leaves both you and the employee without legal protection and can lead to serious fines during an audit.
The second common mistake is the founder bottleneck. If you, as the CEO, are still personally running payroll with a team of 20, you are wasting your most valuable asset, your time. This is a classic sign that you need to start delegating and trusting the systems and people you've put in place.
So to sum up, the key takeaways are these. First, document everything, from contracts to policies. Second, design your processes with the employee experience in mind. Third, choose technology that can grow with you so you're not forced to switch systems later. And finally, never treat HR as done. It's a living system that you need to constantly review and improve.
And we'll end by leaving you with this question to think about. Take a look at your current processes, your tools, and your team. Are they creating a solid foundation, or are they creating a bottleneck? Answering that question honestly is the first step to building an HR system that will truly power your company's future.